Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Good morning, freedom fighters. Good morning, Vic heads. Susie Moore filling in for Vic today. So happy to be here with you all because there is so much to talk about. And Ken here is going to help me do that because he's going to keep me in line, make sure we cover everything. We've got some great guests coming up today. At 9:05, we're going to be joined by Bob Eno. He is the chairman of the St. Charles Central Committee. We're going to talk to him about Amendment 3, which is a big issue coming up on the ballot in November. Yeah. Really big. At 9:41, we're going to be joined by Stefan Padfield of the National Center for Public Policy Research. I think we're going to talk with him about ESG. Then at 10:05, we're going to talk with the Speaker Tim Jones. Can't wait to get his take on some of this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And at 10:41, we're going to talk to Mark Harder from St. Louis County Council. So we've got plenty to cover today, don't we, Ken?
Oh, yeah, we sure do.
Yep.
The Pledge of Allegiance, brought to you by our United States Air Force and Space Force.
So who are we going to have do the Pledge of Allegiance for us today, Ken?
All right, Susie, we've got Catherine Engelbrecht from True the Vote.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Over 200 careers to pick from in the U.S. Air Force and Space Force. Call Jeremy Jefferson in Baldwin now at 314-295-6834. 314-295-6834.
Love it.
I know.
Love it. That's such a great way to start the show.
It really is.
Yeah. So do we have our guest?
Yes, we do.
All right. Bob, hi, this is Susie. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much for having me on. Good morning, Susie. I hope Vic's doing okay. I saw him on Saturday evening at the St. Louis County Republican Central Committee dinner, Lincoln Day dinner.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Yeah.
He said something about his back.
Yeah, Bob, his back. He's
right.
just getting some pictures today, and they're going to get it taken care of. So I'm glad he's getting something done because he actually had a bad back for a few days, through the last week. So yeah, it's a good idea that he's getting it done.
Absolutely. No, I haven't staged a coup.
Yes, it is.
He'll be back.
Staged a coup. There you go.
I'm not Kamala. Okay. So Bob, I'm so glad that you're on with us today because obviously one of the big issues, in addition to the presidential race and some of the statewide office races in November, is Amendment 3, the amendments that are going to be on the ballot. And I know you've got some thoughts to share with us on that amendment, but why don't we start out by letting folks know what exactly is the amendment?
Well, the amendment really is about what they're calling reproductive health. Now, that is such a broad term. It really is very difficult to define and put into, some kind of a parameter. So they've really removed all of the guardrails. Anything can happen with reproductive health. It starts out within, the first 6 words, person. Now, person includes children, it includes adults, it includes adolescents, it includes really babies, and I want to throw something out there that's real. I haven't heard anyone else say, and I've been reluctant to bring it up. Let's just say that you have a child, you have a baby, and at 6 months, you really wanted a boy, and maybe you were even told you were going to have a boy, but you got a girl, that the pictures weren't accurate and you wound up with a girl. So you decide at 6 months or whatever that I want to make this baby into a girl. But that's what I want to do. And this amendment, and this is kind of sickening when you think about it, this amendment will let you do that. Okay, now, professional doctors may advise against it, attorneys may get involved and everything, but the way this is written, a person can do that. Reproductive health is a broad term. A lot of people are just talking about abortions, and abortions really are a sad state of affairs for our country. However, this is bigger than that. This is much, much bigger than that. The people that wrote this were very, very purposeful in the way they did it. They made it purposely vague. They made it ambiguous. They made it so that you can't really define what they're talking about because it covers everything in a minimal number of words. It's very sickening, very, very sickening.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, it's obviously difficult whenever you have an issue on the ballot to make sure that the language is distilled properly so that people who are voting actually know what they are voting on. But even when you look at the actual language of the measure, as you pointed out, it's still very vague. And of course, there's the fundamental issue with having something like this enshrined in our state constitution, as opposed to being a legislative issue that can come up and be debated by and voted on by the legislative body, the people that we vote to represent our interests in the state legislature.
Exactly, exactly. And down at the bottom, it says government, and it defines government. And it says municipality, city, town, village, township, district. District could be a school district.
Right.
You know, the authority, public subdivisions, which is where I live, my HOA, you know, public corporations having the power to tax or regulate. So anyone, any organization, any government in this state cannot regulate anything that happens with reproductive health.
Wow.
And that is a travesty. It is a total travesty.
So,
you know, mental health issues are brought up. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. I want to hear that too.
Well, it brings up mental health of the pregnant person. If someone has a nervous breakdown or is stressed out because of their job, because of other children, because of a marriage, whatever, you know, the doctor's professional health care can step in and say, well, what you really need is an abortion, you know, and let's just go back to my first example. You know, well, you're going to have a boy. Well, I really wanted a girl. Now this is causing me mental health issues.
Right.
Well, when that child is born, we will begin the process. You know, it's just a travesty for our government, for the state of Missouri. And, you know, to be honest with you, this goes back to initiative petition. This could have been changed. You know, they tried to do it in our legislature. They didn't get it done. And I've said on several times and several occasions on several radio shows, it goes back to the leadership in the legislature. And it starts with the governor's office and it goes right down to the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate. You know, they could have had this done. You know, they slow walked it, they slow balled it, they moved it from different committees, but it never got finished, never got accomplished.
Right.
And this could have been, you know, it would have made it more difficult to get it on the ballot.
Right.
You know, which is
it just raises the bar. Yeah. And it is a travesty that a Republican majority, supermajority legislature couldn't somehow manage to get initiative petition reform done. You know, we could talk all day about what's going on there. But I think one of the things that's key too is the fact that because this would make it a constitutional amendment, this is going from what we have now, which is obviously a very, very restrictive abortion on the issue of abortion specifically. The heartbeat law that went into effect once Dobbs was overturned. But we would be going from that to almost to an extreme in terms of basically anything goes when it comes to abortion. There's really no cutoffs, that sort of thing. And then that would be a constitutional provision as opposed to a statute. And, you know, people have differing views on the issue, but I don't think people realize how significant and how extreme this measure is. And what do you recommend is the best way to get the word out?
The best way is the way we're doing it now. Yard signs. When I drive St. Charles County, St. Louis County, I was just up in Warren County, and signs are everywhere. Vote no on Amendment 3, and it references a few places to go to be more educated about it and to better understand. You know, the Thomas More Society. What's her name? Mary Catherine Martin did she's got a document out there that you can go take a look at. It gives more detail. It breaks it down into segments that are very, very understandable. And it's a quick read as well, you know, if a person wants to do more. But people getting out, putting out signs, talk to their neighbors, talk to churches. Churches are very, very active in this.
Sure.
Every church, every denomination is active in this.
Right.
You know, they're putting out signs. They're telling their members to think long and hard about voting on this amendment. Vote no. This is the reason why. You know, so the word is getting out there as we travel across the state. You can very much see it. Now, signs are available. Information is available at our headquarters at the St. Charles County Republican headquarters, which is at 1 Point West Boulevard. That's in St. Charles. And we're right on Highway 70 between Cave Springs and Zumbel.
Yep.
in Gravois Bluff is St. Louis County. They have signs as well. They have an abundant supply. Birthright has just been filling us with signs. We've given away, it's got to be several thousand signs at St. Charles. The people that work there, they're all volunteers. You know, it's a constant flow of people. Some people come in from different churches and they'll want 50 to 60 to 75 signs. And we try to accommodate that. We try to give it to them. If a person comes in as an individual, they want 2 signs, 3 signs, 4 signs, or whatever, we accommodate them as well.
Great.
You know, my only concern is I asked one guy, I said, you better not be putting these in your garage somewhere because you ran out of places to put them.
Right. Get them out there.
If you have any left over, bring them back. You know?
Well, and this is,
we're getting it.
this is purely anecdotal. I mean, I'm a St. Charles County resident, and so it may be different in different parts of the area. But thus far as seeing signage, I'm only seeing the no on 3. I'm not seeing yes on 3.
See, I'm seeing. I drive through Webster and Kirkwood, and I'm seeing quite a few yes on 3s.
It's geographical then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have the luxury of living in Red County.
Nice.
Yes. And that's where I live as well. It's very red.
Absolutely.
If you look on the stream right now, we're displaying one of the great signs, vote no on 3, and it's very obvious what it's saying. There's no hidden message in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No.
And
definitely.
I have it up. Yeah.
Definitely good to get the word out. No, I'm sorry about that, Bob. What other preparations is the Central Committee and the St. Charles GOP taking ahead of the election as far as just making sure we get out the vote?
Well, we encourage people to vote. We try to put as much information out there as we can, especially on our Facebook page. We post something every day to let people know that this is so important. There were some deadlines. Today is the last day to register to vote in Missouri. And if you want to vote in the November 5th election, you need to go someplace and get registered today.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That can be done in several locations, you know. But that's the biggest thing. The amendments, all of the amendments are actually kind of a disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 5 amendments on the ballot this year. Really only one, Amendment 7, that talks about ranked choice voting, and it also talks about must be a citizen of the United States in order to vote. That one's probably the best one. Amendment number 2, I'm kind of undecided on that. That's online betting.
Right.
10% tax on top of that goes to the education. So I have a lot of friends that drive to Illinois, and I have some friends in Kansas City. They drive to Kansas to do this. So I have a friend in Cape, and he drives over to Tennessee. So it's just interesting to me. I'm kind of undecided. The rest of them are just, you know, somebody's agenda.
Right.
What it is, you know, and those are on our amendment. Those are all our ballots to change our Constitution, and therein lies the biggest issue of all, and that's initiative petition. It has to be changed.
It does.
Very hopeful. I know the people in St. Charles County, the state reps, the state senators, are very hopeful that they can get some in the next legislative session that starts next year. You know, we've got some new people coming in. I know there was the last legislative session was very fiery.
Yes.
And although we like that, you know, our politicians, we like them to be very passionate, but there was a few things that needed to get done, and they didn't get done because I think some of those people just, you know, we're pushing the envelope as far as relationships and getting things accomplished.
Yeah, let's hope with new leadership we're going to see some movement, some positive movement on these issues that are key to the conservative agenda, but just key to Missourians overall. Real quick, for people who want to get more involved ahead of the election, who want to help in some way, whether it's getting the word out on Amendment 3 or that sort of thing, what do you recommend that they do? Where do you recommend they go?
Well, there's a couple different ways to do that. First of all is contact our office, our headquarters, if you're in St. Charles, or go down to St. Louis County and just walk in and say, you know, I'd like to volunteer for something. The other way to do this, and this is something I tell, is if you know a candidate or you're familiar with a candidate, reach out to that person and let them know that, hey, I'd like to work for you. I'd like to make phone calls for you. walk neighborhoods with you, put out signs. That's one of the things with Amendment 3. A lot of people stepped up and said, two guys would walk in, retired guys. One guy's got a pickup truck, says, I'm here to put up 4x8 signs. And do you have any locations? Well, we have locations and we have signs. But a lot of times we don't have people to put them up.
Wow.
And so that really helps. Then we've got other people that are looking for signs, and we have somebody that'll deliver them, that'll take them over there to their home or to their business or whatever that might be. But if you know a candidate or you like a candidate, reach out to that candidate and say you're willing to work. Terry Violet's running. She's in a tight race. And we've also got Colin Wellenkamp and Travis Wilson. They're all in tight races in the St. Charles County area. And they could use help. They could use help making phone calls or knocking on doors. That's one way to get involved.
Mm-hmm.
St. Louis County is the same way. They need help as well as Warren County, Franklin County, and Jefferson County.
Sure. Lots of ways to get involved and get and help if you'd like to and are able to. And real quick again, what is the Facebook page where people can check out what the St. Charles GOP is up to?
That is St. Charles County GOP. Okay, if you just put St. Charles GOP, it goes somewhere else. I don't even think it's in Missouri. So you put St. Charles County GOP, and that's our website, stcharlescountygop.com, and then St. Charles County GOP on Facebook.
Fantastic.
And a lot of information on each one of those.
Great.
And the other thing,
go ahead.
The other thing I just want to mention real quick is poll watchers and poll challengers. That's a big issue as well, in St. Charles County and in St. Louis County, as well as across the state. And if you go to our website, there's information on there concerning those two. They have to go through the election authority. We handle all of that for the person. And sometimes there's just, I don't think St. Charles County has the issues that some other parts of the state have.
Right.
But challengers and watchers always help.
Fantastic. Well, thanks, Bob. We really appreciate you joining us today to talk about this. And a reminder, everybody, to go check out the St. Charles County GOP on Facebook or at their website and pick up yard signs, get the word out to vote no on 3. Thanks very much for joining us, Bob.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it very much. Always listen to your show.
All right, folks. Stick around. We'll be back. We'll be back right after this on the Vic Porcelli Show here on NewstalkSTL 1019 94.1.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. This is the real Kamala Harris.
For far too long, the status quo thinking has been to believe that by putting more police on the street, you're going to have more safety. And that's just wrong. It is outdated. It is wrong-headed thinking to think that the only way you're going to get communities to be safe is to put more police officers on the street. We have to reimagine public safety.
For too long, the status quo thinking has been you get more safety by putting more cops on the street. Well, that's wrong.
The real Kamala Harris on the Vic Porcelli Show on NewstalkSTL.
Hey, thank you very much for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Yes, I just want you to know what a breath of fresh air you people are.
1019 and 94.1 NewstalkSTL.
Tim Jones here for AMF Electric, in business since 1965, offering a full line of industrial, commercial, residential, electrical, and system services. AMF's residential department will serve all of your wiring needs, including emergency repair, expansion, or new builds. AMF Electric, fully experienced in every commercial installation, including food service, medical and dental services, as well as office expansions. Call them 314-647-4066. Online, amfelectric.com. That's amfelectric.com.
Need reliable auto service from people you can trust? Look no further than Western Tire and Auto. For over 15 years, we've been your complete automotive repair center, family owned and operated, with owner Dean Kleethermes bringing 30 years of industry experience. At Western Tire and Auto, you're not just a customer, you're family. We promise 100% satisfaction, treating you with the transparency, respect, and honesty you deserve. Visit us in St. Peters or in Florissant. For appointments, call or check westerntireauto.com. Western Tire and Auto, your local automotive experts since 2008.
The cooler weather has begun to arrive. Not too late to obtain your new Window World windows before Old Man Winter rolls into town. Tim Jones here for Window World, one of only 2 window companies with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. They've improved the look and thermal efficiency of 70,000 homesteads in our region and beyond. Lifetime warranty covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. Window World now offering 0% financing for up to 36 months. 314-993-1800 for a free in-home estimate. That's Window World, 314-993-1800, windowworld.com.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL. Enable our Alexa skill.
Hello.
Hey, Alexa.
Yes, I'm listening.
Play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
I had a guardian angel by my side. I called her Mamaw. Now, she once told me, when she found out that I was spending too much time with a local kid who was known for dealing drugs, that if I ever hung out with that kid again, she
Woosh.
would run him over with her car. And she said, JD, no one will ever find out about it.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Vic really likes that one.
Love it. love it.
Well, if anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Yeah. Did you see that clip yesterday, Ken?
Yeah, that pretty much explains everything.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't it? So we're going to call this segment Kamala's terrible, horrible, no good, very bad media tour.
I like that.
Because she went on all the shows yesterday, all the friendly shows yesterday, following her 60 Minutes interview, which was not, I mean, it wasn't antagonistic, but she didn't do herself any favors on it.
No, but it gives you a little bit of an insight as to what happens when she is faced with any kind of controversial question whatsoever. And I'm talking about, these were actually, to the normal politician, powder puff type questions.
They weren't trick questions.
No, they weren't at all.
Huh.
They were very, very straightforward and information that the American people are required to know.
Yes.
However, they were so difficult for her that she didn't do very well with them, in my opinion.
No. And this is something that I've harped on. Listeners have heard me harp on this, but as a female attorney, I take a special amount of umbrage in the lack of preparedness that she shows when she goes to do these interviews. She is asking us, first of all, she has this background in law. She's been an attorney for 35 years. She was a DA. She was the attorney general for the state of California. And she can't, now watch, I'm going to stumble over my words now because I can't do it either. She can't string a sentence together.
Right.
I'm going to jinx myself. No, I mean, we all do that. We all trip over our tongues sometimes. I get that. But she can't put together a coherent sentence to let people know what she really thinks about anything. Unless she's reading it off a teleprompter, she can't do it.
And Susie, this just reaffirms what I've always thought about her. And I've watched her as a senator, but I've read about her achievements in the past.
Sure.
And this is the question I have is, she's had to go through dissertations. She's had to go through all these different cases and be in front of public speaking so many times. How did she get through this? And my only answer could be DEI. She's a DEI hire, in my opinion. This is my opinion,
Right.
but I'm thinking based on the facts, she is a DEI hire.
At minimum, we know that Joe Biden chose her because she was a woman and because she was a woman of color.
Right.
I mean, they flat out said that.
Right.
I mean, that's you don't even have to speculate on that one.
Correct.
But yeah, she seems to have failed up throughout her career. And we know people are digging to try and find transcripts of her early career as an attorney, and they're not coming up with a whole lot, largely because most of what she would have been doing in her early days as a prosecutor would have been low-level misdemeanor type stuff. Now she tries to talk it up and make it sound more impressive, but there isn't anything. I made this point last week. If you Google my name, my legal name, I'm Susan Harold, actually. That was my married name, but everyone knows me as Susie Moore, which was my original name. But if you Google my name, Susan Harold, you will come up with appellate cases that I argued during my almost 30-year legal career.
Okay.
Right. I was in front of the courts of appeals, dozen, maybe 24 times throughout the course of my career. And any of those, you don't even have to have like a special lawyer database to look up. You can just Google my name. It will come up. You don't find that with her.
No.
Now, that would be at the appellate level, but presumably if you try cases, you end up taking cases up on appeal as well, and you argue those cases before courts of appeals. There's really not much out there on her. We don't see that. When she was a senator and she was questioning, for instance, Brett Kavanaugh on the Judicial Committee, she seemed very polished. She seemed like she was really kind of go get 'em, but those were scripted questions.
Yeah. And that's the big deal right there.
Mhm.
There are two parts to her being proficient at speaking.
Mhm.
It's when she's using the feels, going after people's feelings, like when the Summer of Love, when George
Mhm.
Floyd riots were happening, and she was appealing to people to actually pay into a fund to bail out these rioters and criminals.
Mhm.
This is what Kamala Harris did. Okay, there's no denying that. But when she did it with such passion. Get out there, everybody, and we want you to do this, that, and the other. And then she was good at it.
Mhm.
But if you get her to have to go into the weeds on policy, on economics, on closing the border is a really big one for her
Right.
that she cannot speak to. She cannot speak to it.
Well, and it seems to me, based on the reports that we've heard and what we've seen her produce, she just doesn't want to do the work. She doesn't want to do. I mean, it's you know what? Policy can be hard. Policy can be difficult. You have to dig in on the issue. You have to figure out what it is you're going to be talking about and know your facts. And she
Right.
doesn't seem to want to be doing that. So then she's given a softball on The View yesterday.
Yes.
She's sitting with the ladies of The View who couldn't love her more if you paid them to. Okay.
Right.
And they ask her, well, what would you do differently from Joe Biden? Because she's trying to distinguish herself from the president that she's the sitting vice president of. She's trying to because people aren't really that enamored of this administration. So they give her this softball, and what does she say? Nothing really comes to mind.
Do you know why? Because she didn't think about so many different things that she's been talking about for the last couple of months. She says that she's reinvented. Well, they're reinventing her. She says that she's come to a moment of clarity that she's learned over the last 4 years working under Joe Biden. That yeah, I have my own opinions and things have changed as I've learned the lessons. As she says that I've gone across the country and I've talked to
Yes.
Americans and they've told me things. And now my views on everything, including fracking, the border, it's all changed. In fact, you know what? I bought a gun. It's like a Glock 17, just like mine, by the way. She said that, but that has nothing to do with what happened on The View. On The View, she didn't think about any of that stuff.
No.
She said, well, I don't have any really opinion other than what I agreed with Joe Biden
Right, I was
about.
there. I was there in the room with them.
Yeah,
for
I was in
most of
there.
that.
Oh, that was even better.
Yeah.
That put a stamp on it.
Yeah. So it's like when they literally just served, and actually she was on Stephen Colbert last night and he asked her the same question and she still fumbled it. It was like a minute-long answer and it was back to the dreams and the aspirations and all that sort of thing. People, want consensus. She never did answer the question. Okay, this has literally been asked to her 3 or 4 times by friendly interviewers.
Wow.
And she still doesn't have an answer crafted. I mean, someone could have scripted one for her by now. She did a good job at the debate, remembering her scripted lines at least. She could be doing that, but she's not.
And this is the other problem with Kamala. She has a half of a crutch. And I say half of a crutch because she can't use it all the way.
Right.
It's getting philosophical.
Right.
She starts to get really emotional and again, the feels,
Mhm.
and she gets very philosophical and
Right.
worldly and about the heart and where we're striving to be and unburdened by what has been.
Mhm.
And then the problem is she gets in that hole. She can't get out. She can't get back out.
No, you're right. She gets in a rhetorical hole. She does not know how to dig her way out, which is it just goes to the fact that she's not particularly sharp and she's not particularly informed.
Right.
So I'm sorry. I don't want her to be our president. She's not capable.
Want to play something else on her?
Sure.
Okay, let's have fun with this. I want to get some audio
All
out
right.
there. Okay. Here's Kamala Harris.
So say if China attacks Taiwan, would we use military force to support Taiwan?
Bill, I'm not going to get into hypotheticals, but listen, we need to make sure that we maintain a one China policy. But that includes supporting Taiwan's ability to defend itself, including what we need to do to ensure the freedom of the Taiwan Strait. We need to make sure we have open lines of communication with China, in particular, military to military.
Yeah, in particular, military to military, Millie to their Chinese
Right,
leader.
the
Yeah,
general, right.
The same
We know
guy
how well
who
that
said,
went.
yeah, the same guy with Trump who said, "Hey, look, if Trump does anything that you don't like, I'm going to let you know about it."
Yeah. What a non-answer.
I
I'm
know.
not going to get into hypotheticals, but I'm just going to talk to you in general about this. And I will say this. I recognize you can't necessarily get into detailed specifics sometimes, for good reason.
Yeah.
But she doesn't know. She's just dancing around the issue and trying to come up with something that sounds somewhat intelligent, which it doesn't. And, I don't know. It's maddening. I get worked up about it. It makes
I
me
do
just
too.
furious because it's like, okay, look, I want the Republican candidate to win, okay? I do not want a Democrat in control. But
Right.
why does it have to be this one? She's so incompetent.
Barack Obama told her, if anybody asks you a question about international affairs, just say, I don't want to get into hypotheticals.
Right.
No matter
That's
what.
right.
No matter what the question will be, just say that.
Yeah, exactly. Nice saving grace there. I don't know.
I've got one more clip if you'd like.
Let's hear it.
Okay. Kamala Harris.
A quarter of registered voters still say they don't know you. They don't know what makes you tick. And why do you think that is? What's the disconnect?
It's an election, Bill. And I take it seriously that I have to earn everyone's vote. This is an election for president of the United States.
Thank you.
No one should be able to take for granted that they can just declare themselves a candidate and automatically receive support. You have to earn it. And that's what I intend to do.
When is that going to be and how is that going to be? We're
Right.
running out of runway, Kamala.
Listen to what Kamala Harris says out of her own mouth.
No one should be able to take for granted that they can just declare themselves a candidate and automatically receive support. You have to earn it. And that's what I intend to do.
Okay.
Okay. We got how many days? 25?
25, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's going to earn it. She is going to earn it.
Okay. Well, she hasn't earned it from me yet. That doesn't impress. And yeah, it's so tone deaf. Can you consider how she became the nominee?
Exactly. She never received a vote for anything.
No, she's going to earn it.
She's going to earn it, though.
Stick around, folks. When we come back after this, we're going to be joined by Stefan Padfield from the National Center for Public Policy Research here on the Vic Porcelli Show on News Talk STL 1019 94.1.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter.
Woosh.
You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
Live and be well.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. The Allman Report.
Hey, Wednesday on the Allman Report, the FEMA fascists are doubling down in their efforts to make people miserable. We'll have that for you on the Allman Report Wednesday.
Jamie Allman. Weeknights at 8 on News Talk STL.
When it comes to spending your tax dollars and teaching your kids, governments and school districts should be an open book. But in Missouri, that's not always the case. Recently, the Show Me Institute sent out a sunshine law request to school districts across the state, asking for information on whether certain topics are being taught. Specifically, a controversial one called critical race theory was included in the list. Many districts didn't respond. Some wanted to charge large fees to process the documents. Lee's Summit outside Kansas City wanted over $35,000. A rural district, Morgan County, wanted $15,000. The Sunshine Law does allow charging a reasonable fee for sending out information, but there's nothing reasonable about $35,000 or $15,000. These districts should want to be transparent about their curriculums. Taxpayers deserve to know what their kids are being taught. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Attention thrill seekers and fun lovers. Did you know the Midwest's largest wooden roller rink is right here in Missouri? Welcome to Piccadilly Palace, your ultimate family entertainment destination. Glide across our massive skating floor, conquer arcade challenges, put your way through mini golf, and dive into cutting-edge virtual reality experiences. And coming soon, a relaxing bar and grill patio, state-of-the-art golf simulators, and heart-pounding two-story go-kart racing next to East Central College in Union, Missouri. Plan your visit now at PiccadillyPalace.com. That's PiccadillyPalace.com.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
This hour of the Vic Porcelli Show brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
I have a theory. People talk loud when they want to act smart, right? Correct!
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
All right, I'm going to be talking really loud for the second. No, just kidding. Just kidding. I'm not going to do that. Welcome back to the Vic Porcelli Show. Susie Moore filling in for Vic today while we were wishing Vic well. I think he's planning on being back tomorrow.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
We hope so.
Yeah.
Again, I have not staged a coup. But I'm
but I love what you're doing here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like Vic.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's Vic's show.
Right.
You can't just come in and take over.
No.
I appreciate being given the opportunity to fill in when need be. So that's good. And I'm really pleased actually right now to be joined by our guest, Stefan Padfield. He is the director of the Free Enterprise Project and with the National Center for Public Policy Research. Stefan, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I'm sorry to hear that Vic's under the weather, and certainly wish him a speedy recovery.
Amen. We agree with that. And we hope he will be back with us very shortly, very soon. So, Stefan, I know that you have written an article recently about ESG and sort of the brand of ESG and how successful it has been. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So just in case there's one or two listeners who haven't yet gotten the full breakdown on ESG, it stands for Environmental, Social, and Governance factors. And basically, they are supposed to be used in making business decisions by corporations. And in theory, it's supposed to help fine-tune business decisions in a way that will increase value. But what we see over and over again is that it ends up being basically a Trojan horse for leftist policies, right? And so when you look at if you go to your typical corporate webpage, they'll typically have an ESG section. And once you go through that, it really just looks like something you would see at a, very far left-leaning Elizabeth Warren, for example, a platform, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's hard to believe that just comes objectively, right? And so a lot of people have been pushing back. A lot of governments have been pushing back, state level governments and so on. And certainly we at the Free Enterprise Project have been pushing back for a number of years. And this article that I wrote is basically focused on a question that comes up over and over again, which is, how did we end up in this place where these corporations seem to have gone all in on leftist radicalism? Right. And we're certainly seeing some pushback to that, but it's still a very puzzling question to a lot of people. And generally, my answer is it's a confluence of different actors. It's not just one thing, right? You have the true believers, the actual radicals, you have the opportunists, you have the useful idiots, and you have the cowards. And that's sort of, each of those have their own incentive structure that you have to address. Right. But this article is basically riffing on a book review of Aaron McIntyre's The Total State. Now, I have not read the book itself, but the book review was very enlightening in and of itself. And his point, basically, to cut to the chase, is that we are living in a time of bureaucratic elitism, right? Managerialism in its full force. And so these managers, by the way they come through the system and are basically spit out by our business schools, are just naturally drawn to ESG because it centralizes power with them, right? Mm-hmm. The more ESG, the more centralized power, the more power they have. And I just thought it was a really interesting take to add to the mix of how did we get here, and then also what do we need to do to return back to neutral and back to focusing on profit maximization.
Yeah, it is interesting. As you point out, it seems almost like over the past, I don't know, 15, 20 years, there's been this almost like trance-like thrall that's come over the corporate community. And, someone somewhere decided this sounded like a good idea and everyone wanted to signal their virtue and get on board with it. And now you have this, as you pointed out, like when you go to their websites, you have these sort of ethereal, doesn't this sound like all, hearts and flowers type stuff about their corporate mission and that sort of thing? And it really has been, as you said, a Trojan horse.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's multifaceted. Certainly, we've got the well-documented long march through our institutions by the left. And by now, the people that are coming out of these business schools and that have even been in the business world for a decade have come out of those institutions that have been essentially captured by the left. So that's a very relevant point. But it's also this very sort of I don't know, you might even say evil misuse of language, right? And so they use these terms, diversity, equity, inclusion, environmental factors, social factors, these things that sound good, flowery, benign. And it's only when you look under the hood and realize, oh, actually, what you mean by equity is discriminating on the basis of race, right? It's like neo-racism. And what you mean by considering environmental factors is destroying our energy independence, making us completely vulnerable to bad actors that are our foreign enemies, right? And you just go on and on. Every one of these terms that you look under the hood, it turns out is some just radical, right? There's that saying about the issue is not the issue is the revolution, right? Like it's all basically geared to this huge shift to this, sort of World Economic Forum centralized, globalism. That the one of the main problems is even when reality, sort of confronts these people with, hey, this isn't going to work. You're actually making things worse. Their response is always to double down, right? Like either they're radicals and they don't care that they're destroying everything because that's just the next step on the way to their utopian revolution, or they just insist, oh, well, we just haven't done enough. We just haven't given enough subsidies for electrical vehicles, right? And so you really just need to keep hammering away. And again, we have seen some real powerful progress in the last 6 months to a year, but it's a battle we need to keep fighting.
Yeah, Stefan and Susie. Susie's a lawyer, and you can probably answer this really better than anyone, Susie. When DEI and ESG was at its pinnacle, I mean, I remember that there were people having these clubs in colleges saying no white people allowed. I mean, that to me, I thought was racism. It was against certain parts of of our beliefs as a country. That was just, again, it was racism. I mean, wasn't it just blatant racism?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And one of the things that Susie will know as a lawyer is you have this issue of, do you have a plaintiff, right? If you say, hey, this is illegal, you still need someone to go and bring the case, right? And if you're dealing with an administration that's left-leaning and thinks this is the greatest thing ever and is doing a whole of government push for this neo-racism, they're not going to bring the suit, right? And if a lot of your potential plaintiffs are just very reasonably scared of being completely canceled in the sense of losing their jobs, it actually takes some work to find plaintiffs to bring these sorts of claims. And that's one of the things that we do at the Free Enterprise Project, and there's other great organizations, right, is either being a plaintiff because we are a shareholder in these corporations, or finding plaintiffs. And again, it's getting better. People are finally, sort of past running away scared when somebody calls them a racist. They just, sort of expect, like, okay, I'm going to make this really reasonable point about you breaking civil rights laws, and then you're going to call me a racist, and then we're going to wait for a beat, and then I'm going to keep going because it means nothing anymore, right? It's just your way to try to control us. So it has been breaking the law basically since it started, but it's taken a while to organize, get the plaintiffs, build the courage to start pushing back.
I'm actually really surprised that there haven't been more lawsuits because of unfair practices within the companies with this ESG thing, saying, I was just doing my job and I did a great job at it, and someone was chosen over me because of their being more equitable.
Yeah, and we are seeing those suits slowly start to trickle in, and I think you are going to definitely see a tipping point, right? I mean, you look at America First Legal, right, which is one of many organizations doing great work, and they went out in the last year and they just basically plastered, X, what used to be Twitter, and I'm sure other places where they said, look, if you think you've been discriminated against, let us know because we will sue on your behalf. And that's the sort of thing that I think has led to this momentum shift where companies are now on their back foot and we're starting to see more of these suits. The other thing is with our legal system, right, it does take a long time for these cases to percolate through, and it is very expensive. I mean, when I taught law school, I used to tell my students, if you haven't actually been involved in a legal case, you really should do it because you have no sense of how quickly these legal fees, just hundreds of thousands of dollars, very quickly. So it's expensive. It takes a long time.
Right.
And so we got to push on a variety of different pressure points.
Yeah, and I think also you mentioned this, that the shareholder suits is another aspect of this that I think we're starting to see more of, because obviously shareholders in a company, they've got a vested interest in making sure that they're going to be turning a profit, they're going to be benefiting from their shares. And if the company is doing things that are just solely based on ESG and not really the fiduciary duty to their shareholders, then that leaves them open to legal action.
That's exactly right. And that's something that we've done and we will continue to do at the Free Enterprise Project and the National Center. But even there, you run into things like when you bring a derivative suit challenging the directors on the basis of a breach of fiduciary duty, they get a procedural presumption, right? The business judgment rule presumption. So you've got to overcome that. And then, look, judges are people, right?
Sure.
So we brought a case against Starbucks, and it was specifically a race discrimination claim against the board of Starbucks for knowingly implementing essentially quotas. And the judge basically dismissed our case on the ground that this should be left to the marketplace, right? As if it hasn't been decided, as was just said by you all, that racial discrimination is against the law and we're supposed to go to court, right? And then on top of that, he threatened us with sanctions if we appealed. So we basically, had to walk away from that case. But there will be others. So there's just multiple hurdles, and you just can't lose hope. And again, I'm so grateful, and I'm sure your listeners see this going on. We really are starting to take back large chunks of the field, and we're seeing momentum. Another great point is with Robbie Starbuck and what he's doing, sort of bringing these corporations back to neutrality. And what's amazing about that is he's not even showing the consumers the dirt. He's just threatening.
Yeah.
And I won't even say, it's dirty, but he's not making stuff up. Nobody has accused him of lying.
No.
He's just going and doing the work and finding out what these companies are actually doing. And they are now so afraid of the consumer backlash that they just give in to him and his demands, which is basically just to get back to neutral, right? Just by him saying, hey, I'm going to start exposing what you're actually doing.
Well, not only Robbie Starbuck, but thank God that what you're doing with the Free Enterprise Project is as well, Stefan.
Well, thank you. I've been there for about a year and a half now. Very grateful to have landed there. And that group that I'm now the director of, they've got a long history. They were basically the vanguard, the front of this challenge, both by becoming a shareholder, bringing shareholder proposals, bringing shareholder lawsuits, and we continue. There's so much work to be done. So, it's the more and more, allies that we can get fighting and having successes, the better, because it's not like we're going to run out of work anytime soon, unfortunately. But thank you for saying that. And we really encourage people. I encourage people, come check out our website, right, at nationalcenter.org. It's not just the Free Enterprise Project there, but we also have a number of other projects. We've got Project 21, which is a network of Black conservatives. That's fantastic. We've got Able Americans, which is, really making inroads in terms of free market solutions for, disabled people. It just goes on and on, the work that we're doing there, which I'm very proud of. So I do hope your listeners will come and check us out.
Absolutely. And I think one of the points that you really that really needs to be highlighted here, you mentioned like getting the word out on X, Twitter. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Thank goodness that Elon Musk bought Twitter and that it has remained a relatively free speech platform, because there's so much information that's being shared on that platform that wouldn't be out there but for that purchase.
Yeah, on the one hand, you're exactly right. We need to celebrate that and give thanks. the other hand, it just makes it that much more frightening that, that it took this one person, and if not for him, where would we be, right? That it's so tenuous. And now seeing all the actors on the left, John Kerry, Hillary Clinton, coming out and just not even hiding the ball anymore. Just saying, we want to censor you. We do not think you have free speech. Tim Walz, right? All these. And I want to be clear, we at the Free Enterprise Project National Center, we are nonpartisan. Right. So we just are pushing these corporations back to center. When I use these examples, it's more about, right, the free market ideology versus the centralized censorious leftism, right?
Sure.
And so all these examples of them saying out loud, no, actually, we've been giving lip service to free speech, but actually we don't care about it at all. We just want to maintain our control. And if you aren't with the and we want to just shut you down. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Thank God that we have Elon Musk and X as a platform, and that there's a growing, various authors and speakers who are pushing these messages.
Absolutely. Real quick before we let you go, Stefan, tell people once again where they can check out your work and what all you all are doing.
Sure. So I'm personally on X at Stefan Padfield, and then you can just go to nationalcenter.org and you'll see all of our projects, including where I work, which is the Free Enterprise Project.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for joining us today on the Vic Porcelli Show. Folks, stick around after the top of the hour. We're going to be talking to Speaker Tim Jones, and we're going to have lots more to talk about with you here on the Vic Porcelli Show on NewstalkSTL 1019 94.1.
Woosh.
Looking to enhance your outdoor space? Trust Lime Concrete Block, your local expert since 1947. From Vertiblock and retaining walls to ready-mix concrete and outdoor kits, we've got all your residential and commercial needs covered. As a family-owned business, we take pride in our A+ BBB rating and industry affiliations, with special discounts for military and first responders. Whether you're a homeowner, contractor, or distributor, make a decision set in stone. Call 314-638-9940 or visit our showroom today.
Craving the most delicious pizza in town? Head to Monocle's on Highway K in the heart of O'Fallon. From thin crust to pan pizza, gluten-free options, and every topping imaginable. Monocle's, as you covered. Indulge in mouth-watering calzones, party-sized salads, and our famous sweet and tart dressing. Family-owned and locally operated, Monocle's serves up love and care with every bite. Dine in or carry out, and don't forget to try our banana-licious monkey bread for dessert. Order online at monocles.com or stop in today and tell them News Talk STL sent you.
Are you ready to stand against tyranny, strengthen the conservative movement, and enjoy tasty barbecue? Don't miss the 4th annual Missouri Young Republicans Freedom Fest Barbecue. Join us Saturday, October 12th at the St. Louis County GOP headquarters in Fenton. We've got an exciting lineup of invited speakers and mouthwatering barbecue. RSVP now at stlyrs.com. That's stlyrs.com. Presented by News Talk STL and Missouri Young Republicans.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. Doug and Safe Money Radio is on 3 times every weekend, but in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com or call 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
It's time to raise a little hell. The Ozark Mountain Daredevils. Saturday, March 1st, the Family Arena. With special guests, Molly Hatchet and the Georgia Satellites. This is the farewell tour of the Ozark Mountain Daredevils. Tickets on sale Friday at noon at the Carroll House Furniture box office, located at the Family Arena or at Ticketmaster. The Roots and Boots Tour 90s Electric Throwdown with Sammy Kershaw. That's my story. Colin Ray. And Aaron Tippett. Saturday, November 9th at the Family Arena. Reserve seats on sale now at the Carroll House Furniture box office, located at the Family Arena or at Ticketmaster. Roots and Boots Tour 90s Electric Throwdown.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
Additional personnel. Roger Schulman, news director for Salem Media in Tampa, says the vast majority of Tampa area residents have already evacuated.
About 500,000 people have evacuated, and it's being taken very seriously here. I've talked to a few people who've decided to stay in their homes in evacuation zones, and I pray for them because, as the Tampa mayor said, they're going to die.
And as Rich Thomason reports, Hurricane Milton is already messing with the routines and schedules of some pro sports teams.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are relocating to the New Orleans area to prepare for Sunday's game against the Saints. The Bucs plan to spend the rest of the week out of state instead of practicing as usual at the team's training facility in Tampa.
That is Rich Thomason reporting. A new book from Washington Post reporter Bob Woodward reveals new details about Joe Biden and Donald Trump.
In his new book, War, Woodward details President Biden's complicated relationship with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. He writes that the president's distrust of Netanyahu erupted this past spring, leading to a profanity-laden tirade. Woodward also reports that Donald Trump has had as many as 7 private phone calls with Vladimir Putin since leaving office, and secretly sent the Russian president COVID-19 test machines during the height of the pandemic. A Trump spokesman said that's untrue and described Woodward as demented. Greg Clugston, Washington.
On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 193 points. More from townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit. 800-885-3333. That's 800-885-3333. 800-885-3333.
Qantas Airways has drawn up a stir after broadcasting an R-rated movie across an entire flight.
And the Australian carrier now is apologizing to customers. According to Qantas, there were technical issues with the in-flight entertainment for a trip from Sydney to Haneda last week, making individual movie selection unavailable. As a result, the crew chose one movie to play across all screens. Social media posts from users who claimed they were on.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Our slow warming trend continues in St. Louis after another cool and crisp start. Temperatures bounce to 79 this afternoon. But with sunny skies and low humidity, it's still a keeper. Nice day. Clear and cool again tonight, down to 52 early Thursday morning. But listen to this, 83 Thursday afternoon, 85 Friday, and 88 on Saturday. That's just 1 degree short of the record. It turns much cooler around here early next week. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Proctor Drapery Blinds and Shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Welcome back. Welcome into the Vic Porcelli Show here on News Talk STL. Susie Moore filling in for Vic today. We've got lots more to talk about with you guys. Appreciate you being here. But right now, we're going to speak with the one and only Speaker Tim Jones.
But we have an intro.
I know. But go for it.
Already, Timmy.
Former Speaker of the House.
You just proved why you left-wing loons are so insane. Y'all ready for this?
Tim Jones.
He should need no introduction, but at the same time, he really warrants a proper introduction. I love that.
You notice I don't start talking until I hear that. It's in my contract.
Yeah,
Well,
really.
you know what? I'm the same way with the whole Smoozy Q thing. And so sometimes it's weird when I'm filling in. I'm like waiting for the music. I'm like, oh, wait, that's not me. I'm not a guest. I'm actually the host. I forget what role I'm playing.
We're all just a bunch of trained hamsters here at
It's
NewstalkSTL.
exactly right.
Good morning.
Well, Tim, good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you too. Great to have you here in the big chair this morning. Hope Vic is recovering and we'll be back soon.
Amen.
But, you're a very able and worthy person to be in the big chair this morning. And you got the great Ken Williams by your side.
Well, that's what makes it all work.
Well, thanks, Tim.
Tim, I wanted to ask you about this because you are, just as you're a recovering attorney, you're a recovering politician, theoretically. And you certainly are a veteran of...
I have a lot of issues, Susan. I'm recovering from a lot of things, apparently.
You are a veteran of
12-step programs.
Of many campaigns. So you know how races work. You know how campaigns work.
Yes.
Let's take the 30,000 foot view of the presidential race right now. You've got the Kamala Harris campaign, having her go on all these shows, do this sort of media blitz all of a sudden when she's basically been bubble wrapped up until now. None of which are going particularly well for her. Her running mate, Tim Walz, isn't covering himself in glory when he goes on these shows either. So they're doing this kind of mad rush to the media that they've been avoiding for the past 2 months plus. On top of that, when you look at where they are campaigning, like they're going to Arizona and Michigan and the battleground states, that sort of thing. And when I look at the Trump campaign, he and Vance are going to battleground states, but they're also going to like Coachella, California, Aurora, Colorado. He's planning something at Madison Square Garden later this month, I just saw. When you take all that into to account, what does it tell you about what's going on in these campaigns?
Well, Susie, first of all, you brought up some very interesting tidbits, points, and snapshots, which is what campaigns are, right? Because no one knows. No, it's just like trying to predict what the closing bell at the stock market is going to predict today. Anybody who tells you they know what's going to happen in an election year is just blowing smoke up your backside. So what do you do instead? You look at the things that you just brought up. You look at the signs, the signals, and the indicators as to what the campaigns think is going on, right? It's important to know, it's important to try to get inside their heads. And you just pointed out some really good clues there. I think the National Review headline this morning on one of the emails I got from them sums it all up really well. And look, National Review, I know a lot of people get aggravated with them because sometimes their Trump hate is just ridiculous. On the other hand, they remain consistently conservative on everything else, and they point out the problems that Democrats have. And I think this morning's headline sums it all up as to where we are, Susie, which is the crux of your question on the state of the race. The headline is, the Democrats' anxiety vibe shift is here. That's exactly what's going on. Things are no longer going according to plan, right? No longer are we feeling the feel-good joy vibes from all the fake, phony crap that we were subjected to at the convention, during the debate, during some of these other completely and totally and utterly scripted moments. I mean, I'm sure you guys have probably played the clip. I'm sure the great Ken Williams has already. The one where Kamala was giving a speech and the teleprompter went down he couldn't fill in the blanks for 5 seconds, right?
32.
32 is a good number.
Yeah.
It's a number that we have.
Squirrel.
Comes after 31.
The teleprompter going down during that Kamala Harris speech literally broke her brain.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump hardly uses the teleprompter. The teleprompter is kind of there as like a second thought. Oh, yeah, that's right. We're going to talk about energy now. Oh, yeah, we're going to get back to that. And he largely does improv. J.D. Vance is the same way.
Mm-hmm.
J.D. Vance, there's the future of the Republican Party after Donald Trump. And
I got to say, Tim, I got to say real quick about J.D. Vance. That man, during the debate, he didn't even take notes.
Mm-mm.
Yes. That's what a conservative Yale law grad looks and sounds like. I know we hardly see them anymore. J.D. Vance is kind of like a Galapagos turtle, like or a dodo bird, like they hardly exist, right? But that's what a conservative who comes out of the once mighty Yale Law School looks and sounds like. A guy that's remained true to his principles and values. And here's the other thing. This about J.D. Vance. I'll go down this rabbit hole for a second. He is so aggravating and infuriating to the left. Why? Because MAGA shall roll on. They think they think that we're all just Trump sycophants and it's all this cult of personality. Yeah, many of us like Donald Trump. I think he's hilarious. I don't get offended by the mean tweets,
right,
and the comments and of the conversations at the debate rallies. I think it's a hoot. I think it's great. Some people are turned off by it. That's fine. You do you. What I ultimately decide upon, though, is not the person or any kind of cult of personality like Barack Obama. I look at what the movement is, and the movement is going to outlast Donald Trump with the likes of a J.D. Vance if he so chooses to do so. And that movement is about what? It's America first versus Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and the rest of the gang who want America to be last. That's how I put it down. So back to your question, Susie, the 35,000 foot is the reason she's suddenly doing something that she wasn't doing. Let's remember, Democrats, especially today's left-wing lunatic liberal Democrats, they don't do anything. They don't get up in the morning and put their feet on the floor unless it has something to do to maintain or increase their political power. So this is not an accident. This is not something, oh, we're just going to try and do this now for the next few days. This is cold and calculated because they realize that they think she's losing. Now, is she going to lose? Again, no one knows. They're going to lie. They're going to try to lie, cheat, and steal their way to another electoral, quote, victory if they can. But what they're seeing in all of the battleground state polls is that she is losing steam. She's losing interest. She's losing this fake, phony, no pun intended, trumped up joy platform that they had briefly. And now that we're talking about substance, and you know, a lot of times the VP debate, it doesn't decide people one way or the other, but you know what it can do? It can set the tone. It can refocus the message. And that's what J.D. Vance did. J.D. Vance said on policies, putting aside all the personalities, whether you love or hate Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, on policies, you are not better than you were 4 years ago. In fact, you are much worse. Why would we want to do that again? Kamala Harris has said this, despite the fact she wants to reinvent herself, that there's no daylight between herself and the failure of Joe Biden.
Exactly right. And that was such a huge point. I think she should stop right now and not even run anymore. I'm not kidding, Tim. You brought up a couple of points. I had to make a couple of notes here. It was so much. Kamala, first of all, it's a staged production. I don't know if you guys have seen the videos, but no matter where she is, it's like, okay, hold on a minute. Don't go yet. She was down in North Carolina, I guess, surveying the damage, Tim, and the cameras were rolling. Somebody was rolling a camera already, but they stood there like, okay, don't go yet. Ready, go. And then she starts walking and asking questions. I have no idea who she was. I think she was talking to the mayor, and it looked like they were really interacting. And then when the cameras went off, they just kind of stopped. And I think this whole thing, this whole candidacy is a production, Tim.
I totally agree. That's because Kamala Harris she's either a crazed communist or she doesn't believe in anything at all, right? It's either one or the other. Right. It's either whatever she needs to believe in for the day. And if she needed to be a far left-wing liberal senator to hold a Senate seat from California, that's what she was. If she needed to be the favorite progressive next to Bernie Sanders in the U.S. Senate in order to try to run for president and get her party's nomination, well, then that's what she would do. Now, if she needs to try to tack back towards the middle so she can pretend she's not a crazed communist, well, then that's what she'll do. We don't know what she is. We don't know who she is. We don't know what she stands for, because in the gobbledygook that comes out of her mouth in these 60 Minutes interviews, which I actually thought was a pretty decent interview, hats off to Bill Whitaker, whoever that guy is. He popped up out of nowhere and kind of channeled Tim Russert from old, right? Actually asked good questions, followed up on her 3 times on the illegal immigration question, which she still couldn't answer. So in the gobbledygook that comes out of her mouth, it's all about, we have to hear her bio again for the 35,000th time. Then we have to hear about hopes and dreams and aspirations that Americans have. Okay, yeah, we know all that. And so she says nothing for like 3 minutes. And at the end, she says, yeah, but my values haven't changed. That's your key point right there. If her values haven't changed, then she still is, no matter what we really know about her or not, you have to presume she's going to continue to be the person she has been up until 5 minutes ago. And up until 5 minutes ago, when she was running for president, she was the most far left-wing, radical, progressive U.S. senator in the U.S. Senate next to Bernie Sanders. So this reinvention scheme, Ken, this stage production, it's not working because it's not natural for her. It's not a good fit. She can't speak extemporaneously. She doesn't know how to make words of subject, verb, and agreement in sentences. And so the whole thing, I think, is starting to fall apart before our very eyes. And to prove my point, think back over the last 3 weeks of everything that you and Vic and Susie and I and the rest of us have talked about and covered in the nation over the last 3 to 4 weeks. It has been a series of bad issues, bad items, and bad occurrences for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. What's been bad for Trump and Vance? Not much of anything. So they need to avoid a bad October surprise, and let's just keep the bad October surprises coming for Kamala Harris.
Right.
Oh yeah, and I want to make a note here. You, again, something else, and I think Susie, you remind me of this. Trump was being in North Carolina, being asked while he was surveying the damage. He was being asked about how the impact of this has on the election, and he said it's not about politics; it's about people. I thought that was an amazing remark,
right?
That Trump made. That's real.
Agreed.
Yeah, and you know who agreed with that? Joe Biden. Joe Biden, I think,
yeah,
threw Kamala Harris under the bus yesterday.
I was just going to bring that up, Tim.
Yeah,
when he was? Does that sly old codger still have a little bit of life in him enough to just get back at her for what was done?
I think he was kind of saying to himself, "I hate Kamala too." Watch this, you know. and he said, "So, are you having any problems with Ron DeSantis?" No. Ronnie and I, we just talked.
He's got my cell.
He asked me. I asked him if he needed anything. He said he's good for now, but he'll let me know if he needs anything. I'm standing by to help him. We're here for Florida. Kamala's like, I can't even get him on the phone. You know, well, because you have no business talking to him.
You're no leader.
He has got a Cat 5 hurricane, and God bless all the people of Florida. I've been thinking about. I have a ton of friends and a lot of family right in the path of this thing. They're all hunkered down. We're thinking and praying of them. I'm going to have one of them on the show this afternoon, probably around 5 o'clock today. If you want to get an eyewitness account, my buddy Daryl is in St. Pete, which is going to be at the mouth of the cone of this thing. And we're going to talk about that. But no, I mean, Kamala Harris, she's pretending, right? What have we been talking about all morning in this segment? She's a pretender, and she's pretending. She was pretending to be president yesterday when she's not. And she's pretending to be a presidential candidate, which she's not a very good one. And she's pretending that she's got this whole new set of issues and ideas that she can't explain. Meanwhile, all Donald Trump and J.D. Vance need to continue to do is hitch her to the wagon of failure that she's been hauling around the country, except in the southern border, for the last nearly 4 years. Everything that they have touched has turned to crap. From the Afghanistan withdrawal, the war in Ukraine, the war in Israel, sky-high inflation, the wokeatocracy running rampant all over our kids and grandkids, people wondering if they're ever going to experience the American dream again, home ownership at all-time lows, interest rates at all-time highs, trillions of dollars of debt, deficit spending. I could go on and on and on. None of this existed 4 years ago, and it exists now. And she wants to pretend she had nothing to do with it, despite she's the second woman in charge.
Second woman in charge. What is a woman, Tim? You know, I was just thinking about this. We kind of touched on it a little bit. But so last Friday, Kamala was in the middle of she was delivering a speech somewhere, and Joe Biden, out of nowhere, shows up in the White House press briefing room and gives an impromptu press conference, which I don't think has done throughout his presidency ever.
No.
Yesterday, she's on The View, and he has a press conference on the hurricane situation. Yesterday, or what's today? Today is Wednesday. So Monday leading into Tuesday, she started this cat fight with Ron DeSantis over the preparations for Hurricane Milton and what's going on with the hurricane situation. And Joe comes out with this tweet completely undercutting and again reemphasizing in his press conference yesterday that he and Ron DeSantis are on great terms. Everything's good to go. Everything's great. There's no doubt in my mind at this point that is deliberate.
Wow.
Yeah. He's bigfooting all over her.
Yes, he is.
And I think he's rightfully angry that he was pushed out of the way. This was not his decision to not run for president. The Democrats made a good decision, right? I mean, they had to go for broke, and they had to pull the lifeboat at some point. They were stuck with her because that was the only other option, but it was kind of like a Hail Mary. And now Joe is realizing that, he's looking at her failing and going, I don't know that I would have done any better. I might have done worse, but I told you so.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'm worried about is Joe Biden's approval rating has actually gone up over the last few weeks, because this is what happens when a president starts to, he's not going to be around, right? He's not going to be around next.
People get nostalgic.
So there's all the nostalgia that kicks in. It happens with every former president.
Yeah.
I don't want him to be too beloved, because some of that may rub off on her.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to realize that as much as we cracked on Joe Biden, and I agree with Susie, your assessment yesterday, I heard you talking about, the Bidens are not good people. There's nothing good about these people. They're horribly corrupt, evil demonic people, because they've hitched their wagon to the transgender cult and the abortion death cult and destroying the nation in all economic terms. But on the other hand, you got to wonder, what's going on with this little tit for tat here now that they're looking at where they are. And long story short, I don't want anybody to think that we all should have rose-colored glasses heading into these last 3 weeks.
Mm-mm.
This is going to be a hard-fought election. Missouri's going to vote for Trump, but we all have to go to the polls to vote down Amendment 3,
Yes.
vote for Amendment 7, and to vote for your favorite Republican. We need to pump up the popular vote for Donald Trump. We need to make sure people like Dr. Bob Onder don't have any problems whatsoever getting
Josh
up to
Hawley.
Congress. So Josh Hawley, we have a lot of work to do. Nothing can be taken for granted. These battleground states, I like the trends for Trump, but they're still incredibly tight and way too tight for my liking, because they're going to be backing up the U-Haul trucks, and they're going to have the ballot printing machines on overdrive, in those Democrat bastions.
Yep.
Well, Tim, thanks for joining us today and talking about the election and everything. It's great always to get your insight. And we'll look forward to hearing more from you this afternoon on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show.
Thank you, Susie. Thank you, Ken. And folks, pray for Florida. They're going to need a lot of prayer, thought, and money, if you can spare any, to rebuild after what looks like a historic hurricane.
Amen. Amen.
Thanks, Tim.
Stick around, folks. We'll be back right after this with the Vic Porcelli Show here on NewstalkSTL 1019 94.1.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. This is the real Kamala Harris.
But I do want to ask, would you support any restrictions on a woman's right to an abortion?
I absolutely support reinstating the protections of Roe v. Wade.
What is it that you believe? I mean, what week of pregnancy should abortion access be cut off?
We need to restore the protections of Roe versus Wade. We're
was-
not trying to do something new.
Well, that was nebulous because it was about viability, which could be anywhere between 20 to 24 weeks. And
so no. Let me be very clear.
The Women's Health Protection Act that the White House also
Let me be
endorsed.
very clear. We need to put back the protections that are in Roe v. Wade into law.
The real Kamala Harris on the Vic Porcelli Show on NewstalkSTL. This is the real Kamala.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote quality Christ-centered K-12 education nationwide.
Hi, this is Chris Stegall with the Herzog Foundation. We offer a wide variety of resources relevant to today's families, including a free online publication called The Lion. The lion is one of God's most majestic creatures, symbolizing strength and courage. Named for its attributes, the Lion publication carries articles covering a wide range of topics facing American families and culture, especially related to the education of children. The Lion can be found online at readlion.com. That's READ lion.com.
Sign up for The Lion at readlion.com and find dozens of must-read articles published every day. Visit readlion.com and subscribe for the weekly and daily digests so you never miss an article. Readlion.com. That's readlion.com.
To our brave police officers and first responders, we say thank you for risking your lives to protect us. To all the incredible volunteers who've joined hands with the David Dorn Foundation to raise funds for equipment and services, we extend our heartfelt gratitude. We stand strong with our volunteers who give their time, talent, and dedication as a shield of support for those who rush into danger. The David Dorn Foundation gives a big thank you from our heart to yours. Visit dornfoundation.com and join as a volunteer.
Tony Colombo here for Zero Res, the cleaning pros we trust with our home, and the team bringing you a great offer for the month of October. Book a cleaning this month and mention the Colombo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129. Plus, you can take $75 off an air duct cleaning. Don't let the germs hiding in your home haunt your family. Call Zero Res now and take advantage of this scary good deal. Just mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or when you book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Trump Lawfare with Zach Smith of the Heritage Foundation at 4:20. At 5:20, John Daniel Davidson of the Federalist. Why Kamala Hates America.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
You've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Correct! Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
It's not about you, Kamala.
Right.
It's about the people of Florida. My focus is exactly where it should be. And I can tell you this, I've worked on these hurricanes under both President Trump and President Biden. Neither of them ever tried to politicize it. She has never called on any of the storms we've had since she's been vice president until apparently now. Why all of a sudden is she trying to parachute in and inject herself when she's never shown any interest in the past? We know it's because of politics. We know it's because of her campaign. I have zero time to entertain these political games.
Preach, Ron.
You got it.
Yeah, I wanted to play. We alluded to this in the last segment, but yeah, there was this kind of cat fight that erupted between Kamala Harris, who suddenly decided she needed to be very involved in the hurricane preparations and recovery efforts, even though she's avoided briefings up until now. She is sitting in on a briefing today, by the way.
Oh,
with
okay.
President Biden.
Well, that's good.
So let's see if they throw things at each other. That'll be kind of interesting. But but yeah, so she injects herself into this, and ahead of Hurricane Milton, which is bearing down on Florida, currently as a Cat 5, will probably come ashore as a Cat 4. It's going to be catastrophic.
Yeah.
And she decides to pick this fight. So that prompted me. I'm going to take a little point of personal privilege here today and mention that I am the deputy managing editor of Red State. So
yes, you are.
I edit there and I write there. And one of the articles I wrote there yesterday was called "Don't Bring a Cat Fight to a Cat 5. DeSantis Tells Harris to Look in the Mirror Over Hurricane Critique." Encourage you guys to go check it out. Yeah, I mean, yes, he has to give interviews. Yes, he has to talk to the media. Yes, he has to coordinate with the federal government, meaning speaking with the president. Those are things that he has to do in preparation for this storm. What he doesn't have to do is, I don't know, entertain and indulge Kamala Harris's cosplaying as the president when she isn't.
Yeah, I'll maintain that I said this during Ron DeSantis's run for president, that of anything you think about Ron DeSantis, he's a very good governor with the state of Florida, and he is always taking care of things. Now, let's go back to what I was saying before about her pre-staged walks with the mayor and all these different things that she was doing on camera to make her look really presidential, correct? This is what he was talking about. She was probably having people try to set up with him things like that, when Ron DeSantis has not got any time for that right now.
It's not photo op time.
It's not photo op time. So therefore, she's getting angry because she wants that moment. She needs that moment for her candidacy. And Ron DeSantis is very correct when he says this is all about her candidacy and nothing else.
You know what's really interesting, too, is somebody in her campaign, whether it was her specifically or somebody in the campaign, decided to leak the story to NBC. That's where it all broke, was on Monday. NBC came out with this report that Ron DeSantis is refusing to take Kamala Harris's call. And I think initially the report was that he was refusing to talk to her or Biden. And that was quickly undermined because he and Biden have been in touch. And Biden himself was like, oh, yeah, we've been talking. We're best buds.
That's funny. I'm sure it was all leaked. I'm sure it's all leaked.
So that was deliberate. That didn't come from the DeSantis campaign.
Right.
That came from Kamala's campaign. They thought this was going to, this is how dumb they are.
Yeah.
They thought this was going to look good. You've got a governor of a state that is literally facing one of the most catastrophic storms it's faced. It's coming in tonight. It's going to be bad.
Yeah.
And she wants to pick a fight. And she wants to look like, she's all in, bad and in control and that sort of thing. And when he doesn't play her game, then she leaks that he won't take her call. How did they not know that was going to come back on them? Have they not watched Ron DeSantis over the years? Do they not think that he was going to have a good comeback to that?
Right.
How does she not end up looking like the freaking bunny boiler?
Oh,
I
yeah.
won't be ignored, Ron. I mean, that's what it comes off like.
It really does. And that's just a bad move for them. And that's, again, they don't think very deeply about this thing. Susie, I was talking about a production earlier. This is part of that whole production of Kamala Harris. She's just not that person. They're trying to make her out to be that way, but they can't do enough cuts in order to get, that premium piece of film. They can't do that with a person who just doesn't have the capacity.
No, I'm sorry. I get a little worked up about this because it's maddening to me. But speaking of cuts, I'm sure you've seen this. She had the big 60 Minutes interview.
Right.
And and there were teaser clips put out ahead of it that showed they weren't particularly favorable to her. But one of the teaser clips had Bill Whitaker asking her about Netanyahu not listening to her. And it was like a 60-second clip, and she gave Dan Bongino played it the other day on his show, I know, and you guys probably played it too, about her saying, well, it's all about the work we've been doing to move into place, the work and the
word salad.
It was a complete word salad thing.
We played that.
Yes. That's not what ended up airing in response to that question.
Really?
Not only were there jump cuts in the edits, which people could pick up when they watch the full interview, that particular question, like if you look at the YouTube video now from 60 Minutes of the full interview, he asked the question about Netanyahu not listening, and her answer is a different answer.
This is why I think I read the Trump campaign is asking for the full transcript of that 60 Minutes interview.
Correct.
Okay, that's why.
Speaking of dumb, okay, 60 Minutes, they've been on the air for, I don't know, ever.
Yeah.
They are professionals in the news business. They know how these interview things work. They should know how edits work. They should know how when you put out a teaser clip, if that's not what actually is shown, there's a problem. And people can pick up on that. People are going to scrutinize when you're talking about a presidential candidate, what that person is saying and how it's being asked to them. They put out these two separate videos themselves.
Wow.
How did they not think that people were going to pick up on that? And how is that not just massive journalistic malpractice?
Vic talks about that egocentrism all the time. And they just don't think that anybody's any smarter than they are. And they figure, well, we'll just put both out and let them happen. Here's further proof also that the media, first of all, you mentioned 60 Minutes being a professional organization. I think you're a bunch of hacks. Personally, I just think that they lie, and they are a propaganda wing for the Democrat fascists.
Now, they've been in the biz for 50 years.
But they've been in the biz and at some point they did have credibility. But something happened along the way where they went far left, just like the Democrat Party, and now they are a propaganda wing. And here's proof of that. When did you ever see a vice president walking down the steps of a jet, of Air Force, whatever? Okay. I'm talking about in normal conditions. When do you ever see the vice president? Ooh, here comes the vice president down the stairs. You don't see it. You never do. And when there was rumor that she was going to be the nominee, they started to play her coming down and going up the steps into the airplane. These are just little things, but for the person who's not paying attention, it makes her look very presidential. And this is, to me personally, this is proof that they are a part of this whole machine, this whole production to make her become president. And that she's going to be an installed president if she wins.
Well, and all the king's horses and all the king's men still can't put Humpty together in this
You're
one.
right.
I mean, to your point about the production, I mean, this was made a big deal was made of this last week. The staged photo op of her on, I guess it's Air Force Two, where her head's blocking the seal, so it only looks like it says President of the United States.
I
You don't
saw
see Vice
that.
President.
Yes. Mhm.
She's got her, serious look on her face, and she's looking down at the papers in front of her, and she's got her phone in front of her, and she's got her earphones in that don't appear to be plugged into the phone.
Right.
Showing how seriously she was taking Hurricane Helene at that point. Now, this is as she's coming back from a multi-million-dollar fundraiser route through California the weekend that everything is falling apart in eastern Tennessee and western North Carolina and parts of Georgia and parts of Florida. That for 3 days, while basic mountains were coming down in the middle of the Southeast, Joe Biden was on the beach and Kamala Harris was in California picking up money.
Yeah.
And then she wants to look all serious and in charge. They do this photo op, which ends up blowing back on her because someone didn't think to make sure it was clear that her headphone was plugged into the phone and didn't think to make clear that she was, actually actively doing something instead of just posing.
Something else about that picture that someone revealed, and I looked really closely at it. It's hard to see,
Mhm.
but you can see it if you look at it really closely. If you get a good rendition of the
Mhm.
picture,
Mhm.
the paper that she's writing on at the bottom is blank.
Blank. Yeah, it was really hard from the angle. It was kind of like one of those things that it was like you couldn't be 100% clear. I guess people can enhance it though. And it didn't. I agree with you. It looked like she was basically pretending to take notes,
Yeah.
but she wasn't.
Well, she obviously was pretending because, like
Yeah.
you said, her headphones weren't plugged in.
It's so how okay. When you think about the fact that the presidency itself it is one person in the office, but it's all the people around them and behind them and actually kind of shore up that office and play a role in what that person is doing on a day-to-day basis and how they're presenting to the public. And the people around her can't figure out how to stage a photo so it doesn't look like she's having a fake phone call and taking fake notes. They can't figure out how to not have her pick a fight with a governor who's trying to deal with a major catastrophe.
And that's why I call it a bad B-movie production.
It is.
Bad actors, bad script.
It's all bad.
It's all bad. And why do they think that it's going to look like a benefit to her to have headphones in while she's trying to negotiate a big problem? I mean, she's listening to something on the phone, but
Right.
why is that going to look good for her? Or does that make her look cool? Do they think that, she's not only a presidential person, but she's a cool president?
Part of that could be, I mean, when you think back to it, there are kind of, I can picture in my head like AP photos of one of the presidents sitting at the Resolute desk with an actual, rotor phone, or not a rotor phone, but an actual phone, like a desk phone.
Oh, yeah.
To their ear.
Okay.
Back pre cell phone days is my point.
I got you.
You can picture them actually sitting there on the phone.
I got you.
Now, those are
Okay.
usually probably staged photos, but you can picture that. This is the 2024 equivalent of that.
Okay.
But part of the problem is this. There's this thing people do. I don't know if you've seen this. It was big on Real Housewives. I don't know why. They talk on the phone, but they want it to be shown that they're talking on the phone. So they put it on speaker and they hold the phone up like they're about to take a bite out of it while they're talking on it.
Yeah.
We've seen her she did that when Barack Obama and Michelle called her to congratulate her on the
I
nomination.
saw it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that looks weird. It looks weird.
Yeah.
So I can understand maybe going back to because if you have the phone to your ear, it's hard to see because it's kind of hidden by your hand. So doing the headphone thing from an optics standpoint makes sense to me. But then you got to make sure that they're plugged in or that you've got the AirPods.
They're plugged in.
Right?
Right.
I don't know. I went on a little rant there, but
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
that's okay. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Mark Harder of the St. Louis County Council. So stick around here on the Vic Porcelli Show. We'll be back right after this on News Talk STL 1019 94.1.
Stream the Vic Porcelli Show at NewstalkSTL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
As President Lincoln said,
What, do you have a cough due to cold? Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Thank you for the opportunity to let me vent here.
Live and local.
Way to be, guys. 1019 all the way.
This is News Talk STL.
I am home.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo inviting you to join my band along with Somebody to Love, tribute to Queen, for an awesome night of music Saturday, November 30th at Diamond Music Hall. Join us as we kick off the season of holiday cheer with my band, Tony Colombo and the North County Sound Machine, featuring Katie Fitzpatrick, a tribute to Duran Duran, and Somebody to Love, a tribute to Queen. Support live local music and join us for a great party Saturday, November 30th at Diamond Music Hall. Brought to you by Weber Chevrolet. Get your tickets now at diamondmusichall.com.
Ready to cut a deal? Your new John Deere compact tractor is waiting at Seidenstricker Nobe Partners. Get 0% financing for 84 months with zero down, or get 0% financing for 60 months, plus save up to an additional $2,000 on select compact tractors. Come see us at one of our 28 locations or visit us online at snpartners.com and let's cut a deal today. Seidenstricker Nobe, your partner for the land.
Offer valid through 10/25/2024. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
Ready to explore the underwater world? Great American Divers, your veteran-owned local scuba center, is making waves with incredible offers. Get $50 off any new open water course when you mention NewstalkSTL. And mark your calendars. November 8th and 9th is our massive fall sale. Everything in store on sale, plus our huge swap and sale event for quality used gear. Daddy certification, equipment repairs, we got it all. Our experienced staff is passionate about teaching, and we're the only center in the area with our own indoor heated pool. Visit GreatAmericanDivers.com today. Great American Divers, where adventure runs deep.
When it comes to the performance of your home, you can do it right and you can do it for less money at the same time. Mike Ferguson here from my friends at Window World. They are simply the best for less. Double strength glass windows, lifetime warranty. And now for the first time, they are offering 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. So give my friends right here in St. Louis a call today. Get that free in-home estimate. Once again, 314-993-1800.
Fox News commentary.
A Deadspin defamation lawsuit will move forward. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. And one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
You're a Deadspin sports writer accused a 9-year-old Chiefs fan of racism for his face paint and native headdress. He wrote and published an article with the headline, "The NFL needs to speak out against the Kansas City Chiefs fan in blackface and a native headdress. They're doubling up on racism," a subhead reads. The little boy was wearing Chiefs-themed face paint, and as for the headdress, come to find out, he actually has Native American heritage. But even so, that boy and his family were subjected to relentless public ridicule, hate messages, and death threats, and they filed a defamation lawsuit against the sports website over it. Deadspin wanted the courts to throw that lawsuit out, claiming since it was an opinion piece, the outlet couldn't be held liable. But too bad, because this week Superior Court Judge Sean Lugg denied Deadspin's motion to dismiss, and the lawsuit will move forward. So Deadspin is finding out the hard way that when you cry racism, well, you better have your facts straight. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
This hour, The Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Proctor Drapery Blinds and Shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com.
Woosh.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
So I say this gently. The Biden administration sucks.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
The man has a way with words.
He does, doesn't he?
Welcome back to the Vic Porcelli Show, folks. Susie Moore filling in for Vic today. I wanted to remind you guys, if you want to get the Vote No on 3 signs, there's a couple of different ways you can do it. Definitely encourage you to do this. We need to get the word out. It's clear that the word needs to get out on this, because in not all areas are people picking up on this message. So please encourage you to go pick up a sign or 3 at, you can get them at St. Charles County Republican headquarters, which is on 1 Point West Boulevard in St. Charles, or you can get them at the St. Louis County Republican headquarters, which is at their Gravois Bluffs location. Really encourage you to do that. The other thing that we're doing here, I think at NewstalkSTL, is providing sample ballots.
Yes, if you can go to newstalkstl.com, we have a great section there to give you some education on what you're voting on.
Absolutely. It's important to know ahead of time. And also a reminder, this Saturday is Freedom Fest barbecue.
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, Young Republicans are putting on Freedom Fest. It's the 4th annual barbecue this Saturday, October 12th at their headquarters. That's the Gravois Bluffs location, 794 Gravois Bluffs in Fenton. It goes from 11 to 2, and there's going to be all kinds of political bigwigs there. Go get out there, support them, and support the Republican Party.
Yeah, get your tickets now, though, before you can't get them anymore, because the barbecue could run out.
It could run out.
And that would be a travesty.
Yeah, we don't want that to happen. No. So go check it out for sure. And I think we've got a caller, right?
Yeah.
Mustafa.
Hey, Mustafa. What's going on, man?
So I'm just trying to say that is the only thing that Harris campaign interested in Hurricane Milton is because of the location of the hurricane.
What do you mean by that?
Well, for one, Florida is a Republican state, has been and always will be. Second thing is, Florida is the resident state of President Trump.
Ah. Wow, okay. That's a great point.
That's the only reason she appeared to be interesting in the relieving effort and in the government's DeSantis efforts of dealing with the hurricane.
So
but the only difference between her, while she acting, and acting is the key word.
So Mustafa, you think that this is going to try and she's trying to generate a favorable opinion from the people of Florida?
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not going to work, because while she's acting like president, or she is the acting president, because
fair point,
right?
The 46, he's probably sleeping now. While she's acting as a president, actually Governor DeSantis, he's on the ground. The only difference between her and Governor DeSantis is Governor DeSantis don't play games or don't play politics games when it comes to the American life.
Absolutely right. Yeah. No, thanks, Mustafa. That's a really good point. And I think, this has kind of been raised. It was raised in relation to Hurricane Helene and now in relation to Hurricane Milton. We're this close to the election, and there are people that are displaced. Obviously, there are people that have lost their lives, but there are people that are displaced. And one of the things I want people to know is that the North Carolina Board of Elections has moved last night to make access to the polling places and absentee ballots easier for the people that have been displaced in Western North Carolina. They are proactively, and that's a bipartisan group, and voted unanimously to make access to the polling places easier for the people that have been directly affected by the hurricane. So I think that's a good thing, because there was this thought that, that's kind of Trump country. Is that going to suppress the vote? Even David Axelrod, did you hear that clip?
Yes, and it really made me mad. Made me very mad.
The upscale people in Asheville will find a way to vote, but those hillbillies, they might have a little trouble because they're not so bright, was the implied message.
Yeah,
he did say upscale.
He pretty much said it.
He pretty much said it.
Close.
And the thing about that is, David Axelrod is, I think he's a political operative. He's a partisan political operative, but he's a sharp guy. Like, he knows what he's talking about.
Right.
He's made some observations throughout the campaign that I had to agree with. I had to give him props for making those points, but that also reveals to you the elitism and how full of yourself do you have to be to say, well, the people that live in the sort of the metro area, they can figure out how to get to a polling place.
Yeah.
But the people that live on a mountain, talk about the soft bigotry of low expectations. It's just I don't know. That was mind-boggling to me that he said that and had the audacity to say that. But yeah, people have been wondering about how these hurricanes are going to impact the vote. I think most people that can are going to find a way to vote.
Absolutely. I think especially in this particular election. One thing that I noticed that there was a reporter, I don't want to say the reporter's name, but they were on the ground and they said that they looked around. They wanted to find out, where FEMA was and what activity was happening to get these people fed and get them, get them housed and all that. And they said that there's a lot of NGO, not a lot of personal people just doing things to help the people, but there was one group of FEMA that they could find anywhere. And that's a problem. That really surprises me, because during this big election that we have, you would think they'd be taking all the money, even the money that she said that she was going to give to Lebanon. Well, that money should have been just thrown right at this situation. Because of this election, it does surprise me that they didn't do that.
Yeah, and part of it, I think, is and this is that kind of speaks to the fact that government is so overgrown. But part of it is, I think, a fundamental misunderstanding of what FEMA is, because FEMA isn't like the Red Cross. FEMA isn't like Samaritan's Purse. They aren't actual boots on the ground, like fixing stuff and helping rescue people. They're there to administer the doling out of funds and relief funds. So they do play an administrative role, but they still need to be present. They still need to be accessible. They still need to not be telling people who have been without power for 2 weeks, oh, just hop online and apply for your big $750 for the household immediate payment that we're going to maybe give you in 10 days, theoretically.
And Suze, they were telling people, the FEMA was telling people, do not go in there. Buttigieg said, do not fly drones over there, because they were trying to fly drones to find out where the people were so they wouldn't waste any time, get to them, and then get them out of there. But he said, no, we don't want you doing any of that.
Right. The problem was the administrative state was trying to hold on to its territory and box out the people who were just taking the initiative and trying to get in there and help. Because if they didn't do it, no one else was going to. Thank God for the people like Samaritan's Purse and for the people that have taken it upon themselves. I mean, I'm following a whole bunch of these people on Twitter. You got to be careful what you follow on Twitter, because there's a lot of rumors out there too. There's a lot of sensationalists. There's a lot of click mongers, fear mongers.
But we can individually decide what is disinformation.
Yes, we've got to be discerning. But the people that, you can see on the ground, they're setting up the Starlinks. You can see they're taking the initiative. And thank God for that initiative and for the people that have figured out a way to help not even their community. They've gone into it to help. When the government, the federal government is a big cumbersome beast. It doesn't move quickly, and there's all kinds of red tape. That's always an issue. But in a situation like this, the best thing for it to do would be to offer support to the people that can get in there and be boots on the ground and facilitate that, as opposed to trying to, one up it and claim credit for stuff that it's not doing.
Speed up the process, because lives are at stake here.
100%.
We cannot, okay, I understand what you're saying, because it is true about FEMA and how slow it can move, but it can't move slow. You can't, by nature of its process, it needs to move very quickly, because people's lives are at stake. Do you remember when Donald Trump and Elon Musk recently said that they wanted to put a Starlink up do Starlink over North Carolina, and they were going to cover the whole area with it? Well, then Joe Biden comes on and says, well, I did that.
Yeah, tries to take credit for it.
Yeah, tries to take credit for it. But actually, the conversation was being aired already between Donald Trump and Elon Musk about Starlink. So.
Yeah.
We got Marty on the phone if you want to take it.
Sure. Hey,
Marty.
Hey, how you doing? Good morning to Susie. This is the first time I've had a chance to talk to you.
Good to talk to you, Marty.
I have been in that Biltmore Mansion estate and that Asheville, North Carolina, more than just a few times. And what they don't really understand, or maybe this administration doesn't understand, is in North Carolina, this is probably one of the most liberal areas of North Carolina.
Right.
At Asheville. And if anything, if they wanted to try to shore up their voting base and ensure that to give Donald Trump a run for their money, they should be flooding that place with money and help. Instead, they are ignoring them, making the assumption that, hey, we've lost North Carolina already. What the hell? Just let them suffer.
Isn't that terrible?
Yeah.
Isn't that awful?
Yeah, it's
awful.
It's disgusting to think that political calculation comes into the willingness to help, that sort of thing. And I'm sure it's not true across the board. I'm sure there are people, even people in the Biden administration, that do want to help. I got to believe that.
But they're being handcuffed.
But you're right.
They're being handcuffed by their own party.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Hey, Marty,
yes.
Where are you calling from?
Oh, I'm right now in Dogtown. I'm circling around the block to go get something to eat.
Marty calls from like on ships in Italy and all over the world.
And right now he's in Dogtown.
Yeah.
And he's in Dogtown right now.
Well, happy
I'm in
eats.
Dogtown now, yeah.
Enjoy that meal. Now you're making me hungry.
Hey, have a good day.
Thanks,
yeah,
Marty.
You too, Marty.
Too.
Thanks for calling me.
Bye.
Yeah, and that was a really good point because it's clear that there is a political calculation in some respects. And let's be clear, in 2005.
Okay, Karine Jean-Pierre. Let's be clear.
Let's be clear. Oh, I did need to do a little bit more attitude there.
That's right.
In 2005, there was motive attributed to George Bush about the political calculation that I don't think was there.
What they said to him.
Right. I mean, it's not that the administration handled the situation perfectly.
No.
I get that there was room for criticism,
Absolutely.
but to attribute it to not liking Black people or not caring about the people of New Orleans because they vote Democratic, that was sick.
Yes.
I don't think that's true. I mean, there's lots of things I don't like about George Bush. I will be very clear about that, but I don't think that is true of him. I don't think that was a political calculation on his part in any way designed to harm people that vote against him or, help only people that vote for him.
Bottom line is those lies damage the country. They created division. Exactly what the Democrats love and what they thrive on is division. Susie.
Well, right. Because united we stand, divided we fall.
That's right.
Funny how that works.
It's
right?
funny. Yeah.
Right.
Especially when you're a fascist.
Well, especially when you are.
Yeah.
Well, Ken, thanks for letting me sit in with you today.
I'm so glad you came in. We're trying to figure out who could it be, and first name came up was you, so we really appreciate it. Who could it be now?
I appreciate it. You've been listening to the Vic Porcelli Show here on News Talk STL 101.9 94.1. Susie Moore signing off. We'll catch you next week, or catch you tomorrow.
Number one for live and local conservative talk. You guys take care and stay strong.
Woosh.
Tim Jones here for my favorite St. Louis Sports Bar and Grill experience, the go-to spot of Johnny's Hideout. Johnny's Hideout featuring over 40 big screen TVs to watch all the great games this college and NFL season. Awesome food specials every single day that I absolutely love. Bike nights, classic cars on Wednesdays, live music every weekend, and a fantastic time to visit the gorgeous Sunset Patio. Located just 10 minutes from 270 and Gravois, open 7 days a week, 11 a.m. onwards. All the information you need to know at jhideout.com. That's jhideout.com. Johnny's Hideout in High Ridge.
Looking for top quality tactical gear and expert advice? Look no further than Discount Tactical, your one-stop shop for all things firearms and self-defense. Located in the heart of Warrenton, we've been serving the community for 3 years with our friendly, professional, and knowledgeable staff. From custom AR builds and silencers to the largest selection of parts, we've got you covered. Self-defense weapons, SBRs, knives, ammo, custom holsters, weapon lights, optics, and body armor. Discount Tactical. Online at discounttacticalarmory.com or stop by today and gear up with confidence.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents, and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. The city was booming. Unfortunately, St. Louis city streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline. St. Louis City Republicans believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. Learn more at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican Pat Curtis, Farber Treasurer.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Category 4 Hurricane Milton continues to churn toward Florida's west coast. The National Hurricane Center had predicted it would likely weaken, but remain a major hurricane when it makes landfall late Wednesday. The Tampa Bay area, home to more than 3.3 million people facing the possibility of widespread destruction. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says the roads and interstates are flowing, but he added the traffic conditions could deteriorate as the day goes on. He says the state is concentrating on getting gasoline to service stations in need.
There is no, right now, fuel shortage. However, demand has been extraordinarily high and some gas stations have run out.
Milton now less than 200 miles southwest of Tampa. Also at townhall.com, on the battlefront, at least 18 people are dead after Israel hits Gaza.
2 strikes hit tents for displaced people in the urban Nuseirat and Barej refugee camps in central Gaza. The bodies of 9 people, including 3 children, were brought to the El Aqsa Martyrs Hospital in the nearby town of Deir el-Balah. An Associated Press journalist saw the bodies at the morgue. On Tuesday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel has killed the successor to the head of Hezbollah, while the militant group's acting leader promised more fighting in southern Lebanon. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Ethel Kennedy, the widow of Robert F. Kennedy, has been hospitalized with a stroke. It happened in her sleep, and she's resting comfortably now at a Boston area hospital. The 96-year-old matriarch is the last remaining member of the extended family's generation that included President John F. Kennedy. On Wall Street, the Dow had 368 points. The NASDAQ composite is adding 101. More at townhall.com.
Our government has engorged itself on borrowed money. Now we are over $30 trillion in debt. If this bubble finally implodes, many Americans will be left penniless and heartbroken. For example, what happens if state and federal pension funds go broke, or if 401ks and IRAs get cut in half due to hyperinflation? Hi, I'm Lance Wallnow, news analyst, best-selling author, and evangelical leader to millions of people just like you. People who understand something big is coming. Now's the time to prepare with a physical gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. Precious metals are among the most proven hedges you can make. And they're even better inside a tax advantage account. To get a free info kit on gold IRAs, text the word FAITH, F-A-I-T-H, to 989898. Birch Gold Group is the only gold company I trust. Get their free info kit and see why a gold IRA can help you. There are no strings attached, so just text FAITH to the number 989898 right now, and I pray you are blessed with continued prosperity.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Our slow warming trend continues in St. Louis after another cool and crisp start. Temperatures bounce to 79 this afternoon. But with sunny skies and low humidity, it's still a keeper. Nice day. Clear and cool again tonight, down to 52 early Thursday morning. But listen to this, 83 Thursday afternoon, 85 Friday, and 88 on Saturday. That's just 1 degree short of the record. It turns much cooler around here early next week. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Piccadilly Palace, located in Union, Missouri. The ultimate family fun center is Piccadilly Palace. Call 314-860-6418 or visit piccadillypalace.com.
Getting new flooring can be exciting, or it can be a hassle. To make sure you have a great experience, use Michael's Flooring, like I did. Hi, it's Susie Moore, and Michael's Flooring has become my go-to for quality, variety, and an all-around great experience. They've been locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, natural stone, luxury vinyl, it doesn't matter. Michael's Flooring is ready to help. 3 locations to pick from: St. Peter's, Darting Prairie, and Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Missouri's Amendment 3 is cleverly worded to convince you that it only allows abortions until fetal viability. But it has loopholes that allow for abortions through all 9 months of pregnancy. Abortion proponents used to say safe, legal, and rare. But now they want abortion as common as the morning after pill. Plus, minor-age children will have access to sex change surgeries without parental consent. Vote no on Amendment 3.
Paid for by Leadership for America PAC, John B. Royal Treasurer.
Dr. Randy Tober here, and I know that when you're looking for a dentist, you have to make sure you choose a dental practice that's compatible with you and the needs of your family. Well, I'd like to tell you about my dentist, Dr. Dan Cusimano, and his partner, Megan Dwyer, and their team at Advanced Dentistry at St. Charles. The great team at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles can accommodate all of your cosmetic and restorative needs because their passion is general dentistry. Implants, crowns, bridges, even dentures. That what you need the most is what they'll provide in a personalized, focused way. And they can provide therapeutic and cosmetic options like Botox and dermal fillers. Get to know them and all they have to offer by calling 636-978-0226 or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com. That's Dr. Daniel Cusimano and Dr. Megan Dwyer at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles.
That's Advanced Dentistry Now, 636-978-0226. Or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Thanks for taking my call.
Right here.
My point about the governor there, it's absolutely about power.
I read this, I almost fell out of my chair.
News Talk STL.
This thing is just absolutely dripping with irony.
News, analysis, opinion. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
From the NYPD to the Secret Service to behind the microphone, taking the fight to the radical left and the putrid swamp. You're listening to the Dan Bongino Show. Here he is, Dan Bongino.
Hey man, I really appreciate you all hanging with us for the last couple of days. You guys, I just asked as a guy, forget about radio hosts or any of that crap. For just a little bit of understanding, is a dad and a spouse. We're in this uncertainty cone in Florida. We are on the East Coast, so we are not anywhere close to the impact point. And I don't, it's a weird situation, obviously, because I don't even want to say thankfully, because we're not means someone else is. And it just seems rude and inappropriate to even talk about nature's going to do what nature's going to do. The 11 a.m. Hurricane Milton alert came out, obviously, an hour ago. It's noon now, Eastern time. And it tilted last night. It tilted south. Now it went back north. I am not a weather forecaster or a meteorologist, but living in Florida, we all kind of become, amateur ones. People in Tornado Alley become amateur tornado predictors too. It's just part of life. These things do these little wobbles at the end, and they can tilt north or south at that snap of a finger. I mean, I remember we were supposed to be hit by, what was it? Was it Irma or Dorian? They all kind of just blend in after a while. But Matthew was one too on the East Coast, and then it tilted north, and they had the skull and crossbones over my town in Martin County, and then it tilted north, and we got hit by basically a Cat 1 rather than a Category 5. So, my heart's with you all on the West Coast. Said I got family members over here staying with us because although we're probably going to get hit with something, it'll have crossed the state and hopefully weakened a little bit. So, folks, I just ask for your patience over the next couple of days. I know the Bongino army out there, you guys get it. I'm going to do my best to get here tomorrow. We will definitely have a podcast. We may have to go a little early, but the podcast is a little easier. The issue with the radio show is it's live. It is a live radio show. So you have to be here live. There's no AI program. There's no artificial Dan Bongino. It's just me. And if I can't get here because I live on a little island, and the roads flood, I mean, the water comes across the island. It's ridiculously thin. If I didn't create a security situation, I'd tell you to look it up on Google Maps and you'd see what I'm talking about. As my buddy Justin here can vouch for, the water, because there's a house about 3 houses down, the water comes across on his house and shuts the road down. So if my producers can't get here, I'm not going to ask them to, to put themselves in danger. I think you guys get it. So, Producer Jim, turn on your mic. Jim, look at Jim rocking his Mets shirt. He's all happy today. He's like, hey, Yankees, you should have won last time. He's rubbing it in because he just. Why, Jim? Why'd you have to do that today? You just
every day until it's
I
over.
know, every day. Are you prepared to cover for Dan Bongino?
100%.
Me. Okay, good. Jim is more than ready. I'd say Evita'd be here, but if I can't make it, Evita lives close to me. I promise she can't either. So, and she lives with Michael. You may think that's weird. She lives with the producer. Yeah, it's crazy, right? They're married. They were married before. It wasn't like it's just like a strange work environment. It's a little bit of nepotism, right? She's got a favorite producer, Evita, Michael. She's like, yeah, I'm married to him. All right, so I do got a lot of content to get to, but I wanted to play this kind of first. It's just a little quick public service thing for you. The Weather Channel put out this thing that went nuclear yesterday. It was all over social media. It was one of those simulations. Now, in the radio, I'm not sure it works as well as on video. I'll acknowledge that in advance, but it's still valuable to hear. You know, for those of you who don't live in a hurricane zone, I know this may not be a national story to everyone. I understand that, but it is an important story. And I feel an obligation for our friends in Gulf Coast states and elsewhere, you know, to let everybody know what it's like, to paint a picture for folks. They tell you in a hurricane to hide from the wind. I mean, I'd rather get away from the wind, but if you can hide the wind, if you're in a good, what they call, you know, CBS concrete block structure house down here, you're probably okay unless it's like a devastating 180 mile an hour wind disaster and then we're all screwed. The Florida building codes here are, it's like houses they're like fortresses down here. Everybody has either accordion shutters, impact glass. By code, you don't have a choice, or you have those steel shutters. That's it. You have to have it. It's not you're obligated in Florida to have it. So the houses in the wind are generally okay. If you're in a mobile home, you may be in a little bit of trouble. However, there's nothing you can do about the water. Water is going to find a way in your house. There is no hermetically sealed home against water. So they tell you, hide from the wind, run from the water, and they mean it. And if you listen to this Weather Channel thing, it was all over Twitter yesterday, you'll see why. Check this out.
3 feet above normally dry ground, water is already life-threatening. It's too late to evacuate. Water this high can knock you off your feet, make cars float, and driving impossible. The first floor of homes and businesses are flooded. Unfortunately, the water is expected to rise even higher at 6 feet above the height of most people. Vehicles get carried away, structures start to fail. Just look at this. Anything could be in this water, sharp glass, debris, chemicals as well. The scary part is some areas could see surge values at 10 to 15 feet. And this takes us up to 9. And look what it does. At this level, the first floors of structures are completely flooded, and there are few places that it is safe when the water rises this high. We want everyone to know their evacuation zone, listen to local officials, and evacuate when ordered.
Man, the power of running water. I have thankfully never been in a significant water episode, knock on wood. I hope not to. Unfortunately, I do know people who have got out, and it is frightening, and it's shocking, and it's cold, and it disrupts your entire sensory overload system, your sensory system, and overloads it. It's a really, really, it's a really bad episode. So if you're on the west coast of Florida, in our listening audience in that region, if you still have the ability to get out of there, you probably should. Folks, I want to show you what real leadership looks like, because obviously there's a lot going on with weather events, emergencies, a war in the Middle East, Hezbollah, terror threats. This is one of those news cycles where Jim and I and Mike and the team, we put together a show, and we seriously have to triage events of the day and say what's most important to get out to the audience. I want to show you what real leadership looks like, unlike Kamala Harris, our current vice president, who the word is that she had skipped a bunch of operational briefings about these natural disasters that were headed our way because she was out, like, I don't know what she was doing, faking accents or whatever. So you have to understand, like, we have the best hurricane governor in the country in Ron DeSantis. There's simply no one better. He's now been in office, you know, for over 6 years now. And DeSantis has the ability beforehand to do the proper planning. So Kamala Harris, who really hasn't shown any care for Florida or any of these residents at all, she wants to now disrupt the whole process by wasting DeSantis's time. This is what actual leadership looks like when he was asked about this. Check this out. Cut 3, Jim. 3.
My focus has not been on dealing with Kamala Harris. I saw the news report. I didn't know she tried to contact me, but I'd also say it's not about you, Kamala. It's about the people of Florida. My focus is exactly where it should be. And I can tell you this, I've worked on these hurricanes under both President Trump and President Biden. Neither of them ever tried to politicize it. She has never called on any of the storms we've had since she's been vice president until apparently now. Why all of a sudden is she trying to parachute in and inject herself when she's never shown any interest in the past? We know it's because of politics. We know it's because of her campaign. I have zero time to entertain these political games. We're going to continue to do what we need to do to prepare and respond to what may be one of the most damaging storms in the history of the United States. So she says focusing on protecting your people is selfish. I think she ought to look in the mirror.
Yeah, that's how it's done. That's how it's done. She's never called before. Why should he waste his time now? He's busy getting gasoline, food, electric linemen to put up electric service back again so people can actually feed themselves. There are people out there who need electric, like to live like civilization. That's how that works. And what does she want to do? She's never given a damn about any of this before. All of a sudden, we're supposed to waste our time talking to her? Talk to Biden. Unfortunately, we're stuck with oatmeal brains in the White House, but ultimately, he's the one who signs off on this stuff. Kamala Harris doesn't give a damn. How do I know? Jim, cue up for me, cut 2. Here's Kamala Harris. Folks, this storm is now, at least the wind field is making landfall. If you look out, I'm on the East Coast. I'm not even on the West Coast, but we're in this wind field as it comes across the state. The winds down here, if you look out my window, are elevated. Tampa, I just saw something on cable news, is at 75-mile-an-hour winds. You got this idiot on Stephen Colbert last night. Let's drink a beer. Drink a beer. You've got people dead in North Carolina, over 200 people. You've got a massive natural disaster going on. You're out there drinking beer. What's next? You're going to smoke a doobie? And here she is debuting, unbelievably, this is real, debuting another accent. We had the French accent, the UK accent. We've had all kinds of dialectical changes. Here's Kamala Harris. What is she doing? Is she auditioning for an acting role? Here she is with another accent. Is this Jamaican? I don't know. Jim's like, I don't know either. This is from last night. Check this out.
Have empathy, man.
Yes.
For the suffering of other people. Have no sense of purpose?
I don't even know what that is. And then she cracked a beer. No, actually cracked a beer. There are people whose lives are about to be totally destroyed by what is now undoubtedly going to be one of the most destructive storms Florida's seen in a long time. That's not open for debate. And what's she doing? Kamala Harris is out there yeah, man. I spent a lot of time in Jamaica. I did. I was on an operation in and around Kingston. And Jamaica's a nice place. Got some trouble spots near Kingston, but it's a nice place. And I work with some of the Jamaican police officers over there. They were helping us out on an op, right? They were nice guys. They were like, chat patwa, man. Then they taught me some stuff. But I get it. Like, we were like playing a game, She's running for president. She's debuting a new accent. This is supposed to be, contrast that with DeSantis. Contrast those two. A woman's a joke, folks. She's an embarrassment. They have zero respect for you at all. I'm going to tell you something right now because I want to tee up the next segment. Folks, the Democrats hate your guts. I am sorry to fill you in on the bad news. The Democrats hate your guts. They absolutely cannot stand you. They revile you. I'm going to prove it to you because I'm like the supermarket. We always bring receipts. They can't stand you, and shame on you for supporting these idiots if you continue to vote for this. I'll prove it to you coming up next. We'll be right back.
Bongino.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE, 855-51-BIBLE.
Dan Bongino.
Hey, it's First Alert Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton from Channel 4, and we are proud to be the official weather source for News Talk STL. Just like you've grown to expect from us at Channel 4, you can expect the same accurate, detailed, and timely weather coverage from News Talk STL. The First Alert weather team will keep you ahead of the big weather changes. And the one thing you can count on in St. Louis, the weather is constantly changing. So Channel 4 and News Talk STL are committed to keeping you up to date and safe.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
I'm so tired of my water smelling like rotten eggs. Iron Foul. It makes my clothes and home smell, and my sink and faucet look dirty. I'm calling Jones Air and Water Treatment for their solution to this pollution.
Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to your pollution. Call now for your free water analysis at 636-899-1040 and live with clean, great-tasting water. That's 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks Vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors.
Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number Limited Edition smart bed. Limited time. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
This is Tony Colombo, and my favorite Capriotti sandwich is the cheesesteak made with American Wagyu beef from Snake River Farms, and you have to include a side of Cap's amazing fries. I love Capriotti's, and you will too.
Open 9 to 9 daily on Manchester and McKnight in Rock Hill.
News, analysis, opinion.
This has been a deadly storm.
Category 4 hurricane.
Historic, epic, life-threatening flooding. 1 million that are without power.
Israel's iron fist can reach anywhere in the Middle East.
It's not just Hamas.
Right now, Hezbollah is in shambles.
The American people are going to be shocked by what we will report to them about the failures by the Secret Service.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
St. Louis is #1
for conservative talk.
News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
Inflation, endless wars, and the relentless assault on our values. Thankfully, there's companies like Patriot Mobile that still believe in America and our rights. I'm proud to partner with Patriot Mobile. They've been on the front lines fighting for our rights, the sanctity of life, our military, and first responder heroes. Take a stand for conservative causes and put America first by switching to Patriot Mobile today. You'll get the same nationwide coverage as the big providers because Patriot Mobile operates across all 3 major networks. Plus, they back their service with a coverage guarantee. Their 100% U.S.-based customer service team will find the best plan for your needs. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Go to patriotmobile.com/Dan or call 972-PATRIOT. Right now, and you'll get a free month when you sign up if you use the offer code Dan. Don't get fooled by other providers pretending to share your values or have the same coverage. They don't and they can't. Join me. Switch to America's only Christian conservative mobile provider, Patriot Mobile. Go to patriotmobile.com/Dan or call 972-PATRIOT for your free month of service today.
Keeping his friends close and his enemies educated. The Dan Bongino Show.
You know, I'd love to say unflag it, but I'm not sure I'd flag this one. I've been warning you for a long time that Joe Biden is a very mercenary, almost childish-like figure. He is. I was not on the vice president's detail, but I don't want to give it away, but let's just say many of my friends were. I was going to say something else, but I don't want to give anyone, I don't want to blow up anyone's spot. And we're very, very senior members, a lot of these people, of Biden's inner circle, not on the political side. I'm telling you, the guy is a man baby. He is. He is very childish. He is immature. And when Biden's one of those guys, he's the smartest person in the room. Just ask him. You know what I mean? He's that guy you ever go to one of these cocktail parties for your spouse? They maybe, I don't know if they're in finance or they're a lawyer or something. These white collar cocktail parties. Me being a relatively blue collar guy my whole life, I was never used to this. And my wife's friends were very nice, but I got to be candid with you, I was always very uncomfortable at these parties. So, because I was always the driver, like you really couldn't drink. So I would just sit there and, the guys would kind of self-segregate over and you'd be talking to a few guys. There's always that one guy who will not shut up and talks about himself too much. You know what I'm talking about, Jim